of your West Chester trustees. I'm here to welcome you to our first of the 2023 season for our Keehner Park Summer Concert Series. Our concert series this year kicks off with a special event. It's the 200th anniversary of West Chester. So let's give ourselves a round of applause. And there's no better way for us to start the summer concert series than the first performing group who ever opened this wonderful amphitheater in 1997, our West Chester Symphony Orchestra. They give them a round of applause for being here for over 25 years. Thank you, all of you. 27. Tonight's program is a West Chester Founders Day Bicentennial celebration. It's a tribute in history and in music. You're going to hear amazing pieces of music that travel time, and you're going to hear from local leaders reading a little bit about the history that goes with that music. So I hope you enjoy the evening. Tonight, intermission, we have an ice cream treat because it's a birthday. We don't have cake, but we have ice cream. It'll work up in the shelter, so head on up there during our intermission. Tonight's program kicks off with the posting of our colors from our VFW Post number 7696 and our American Legion Post number 681. If you wouldn't mind standing.
Thank you all. We're delighted to be here and share this special evening with you. 200 years ago in 1823, there was no Billboard top hit list, but the best known song of that year was Be It Ever So Humble, There's No Place Like Home. We're not playing that one tonight, but we are making a tribute to this home that we share and love. And this is a historical musical journey, and we're honored to have our leaders of West Chester Township introduce our musical selections.
So quiet. Good evening. Hello, American. I'm going to read something. The patriotic hymn like tune West Chester composed in 1770, is not so well known today. But at the time of the American Revolution, this tune was lyrics reveled Yankee Doodle as the colonists' unofficial national anthem or favorite patriotic song. It was especially popular in New England. The composer, William Billings, appeared to have had no particular place called Chester in mind in 1770. He followed conventional practice of the time in naming tunes for places, thus enabling different sets of lyrics to be sung to them. The song Chester seems therefore quite proper for this place, and this time in West Chester, where we are not far from the grave of Revolutionary War soldier John Beckett in Brookside Cemetery on West Chester Road. Enjoy.
The origin of the medley of our oldest and best known early patriotic tunes is unknown. The first word known to it were Dutch, and the chorus ends with, hold on, bear with me, buttermilk und tender, buttermilk and tenth, referring to the payment of Dutch farm workers in buttermilk and a tenth of grain. So it's very meaningful for the early farmers of West Chester. The version, as we have inherited it, was written by a British officer during the French and Indian War to poke fun at the early colonials serving with them. It was used in the early Revolutionary War by the British to ridicule American Continentals who allegedly overdressed as a macaroni or dandy, pretending to be soldiers just by donning a uniform. But the Continentals became soldiers, took over the song, and made it their own. When the British surrendered to them at Saratoga in 1777, the Continental American Army, proudly played Yankee Doodle Dandy. Two congressional land ordinances and the Northwest Ordinance of 1787 opened this territory for land purchase and settlement. One of the largest and earliest was Sims, the Miami Purchase, was included in what we now know as West Chester. The Treaty of Granville in 1795 ended the war with the indigenous tribes in this area. Immigration and settlement of primarily English, German, Irish individuals and families came in ever-increasing numbers, more than a few drawn because the Northwest Territory was closed to slavery and indentured servitude. John Gannot, the great-grandson of John Gannot Olden, wrote that many settlers passed by cheap, fertile land farther in the east, in the original mid-Atlantic states and Kentucky, partly because slavery would be prohibited in the new territories. This land that promised in law perpetual freedom and union with the federal government was still a wilderness. It had few people, but wild animals were plentiful, and in the varying topography and ecology. There were dense forests, swamps, but also hills, and even prairies. Did you know that Route 42 and Cincinnati-Dayton Road were originally buffalo trails? The land's promise and settlers' hopes are captured in our next selection, Prairie Song, where you can imagine settlers relaxing and unwinding after land clearing, corn shucking, and barn raising.
was great. I didn't think I'd ever get up here. In what is now our community, the first town was called Mechanicsburg, and it was platted in 1817. That was 6 years before the founding of Union Township, now West Chester Township, in 1823, hence 200 years. In 1824, a post office was established slightly east of the town, and, for unknown reasons, it was called Chester. In 1826, that first town, Mechanicsburg, changed its name to West Chester. With few roads, the farmers and manufacturers had a major problem getting supplies and products in and out. That problem had been partially solved in upstate New York in 1819 with the Erie Canal. The portion of the Miami Erie Canal from Middletown to Cincinnati opened in 1827, and over 4 miles of it ran through southwest Union Township. In fact, lock number 38's stone supports can still be seen along Port Union-Rialto Road. Interestingly, in the canal's later days, so-called electric mules running on rails were used to speed the barges up. But this proved unfeasible because the increased speed caused wash and wakes that damaged the canal walls, so they returned to nature's mules. There is a poem called Towpath about barging a load of rags to the Crescent Mill on the Miami-Erie Canal, but no song we know of. So we give you, in honor of all canals, including ours, the most famous canal song of all. Since many area farmers' products went down the canal to the Ohio to New Orleans, please enjoy our jazz rendition of the Erie Canal.
In the 1850s, the Cincinnati, Hamilton, and Dayton Railway largely missed most of West Chester Union Township area. Growing tensions between North and South led to the expansion of the Underground Railroad, and Route 42 became a major way north for runaway slaves. The Seven Chimneys House on Route 42 south of Pisgah was originally a tavern and stagecoach stop. It was widely believed also to have been a stop or safe house on the Underground Railroad. Much of the movement of runaway slaves had to be at night, so keeping direction was important. This can be done if one locates the Big Dipper or drinking gourd and follows the pointers to Polaris, the North Star, north to freedom.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Larry Burks, Township Administrator, and since I was given the shortest reading, I would like to take this opportunity to thank a few people. First of all, thank you all for attending tonight. It's a beautiful evening, right? I would also like to thank the Symphony for their fine entertainment tonight. Please thank our voluntary readers for their participation. And then finally, last but not least, all the crews and the staff for making the park presentable for tonight. I think they've done a great job. So, Though the Civil War did not reach this area, it certainly affected it. The 35th Ohio Infantry was raised in Butler County, and over 100 veterans are interred in West Chester Cemetery. Farmers had to give up some horses and provide grain as feed for the war effort. More importantly, there were many vacant chairs in many Ohio families for sons, brothers, and husbands who would not return. The next song's name, Ashokan Farewell, is taken from a lake and village in the Catskill Mountains and is probably Lenape or possibly Iroquois in origin. This bittersweet song was written in 1982 by Jay Unger in the style of a Scottish lament and fits the more romantic and emotional style of that era. So much so, the song was used as the main theme of Ken Burns's PBS series, The Civil War. Please enjoy Ashokan Farewell.
The war between the states saw for the first time railroads play a significant role in troop movements and supply. Union General Mitchell authorized a raid in April 1862 behind Confederate lines to try to capture a train and make that noise, and cut or damage the Western and Atlantic Railroad between Atlanta and Chattanooga. The raid was led by the civilian spy James Andrews, and the 24 men he led were volunteers from the 2nd, 21st, and 33rd Ohio Infantry Regiments. They captured a Confederate train, but pursuers followed them with another train and caught up with them. All were captured and several executed as spies, but others survived. They were among the very first soldiers to be awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor. In their honor and recognition of the importance of railroads to West Chester, we present in music and sound effects the Great Locomotive Chase.
Before we come to our final number in the first half of the program, I invite you, there'll be some people, I hope, passing the hat for the West Chester Symphony. So we are a volunteer group. I'm hoping we got a couple of volunteers out there. It's going to pass the hat. If not, we'll make some play up here in the ice cream social. But we are a volunteer group, and we depend on donations to exist. So if you would be so kind as to feel like donating tonight, we would greatly appreciate it. And now to Representative Gross.
Newspapers grew in number and importance. The name Scripps and later Scripps Howard became widely known in the newspaper world. E.W. Scripps lived here in West Chester for a number of years in the 1880s, and even after moving to California for health and climate, he kept the West Chester home and always listed it as his voting residence. The Howard part of Scripps Howard was Roy Howard, also from West Chester, through railroad had come to West Chester in 1872. The Cincinnati, Dayton, and Springfield, or the Dayton Short Line, Scripps rode that train, and Howard was a boy selling Scripps' Cincinnati Post. Newspapers were so significant that John Philip Sousa even wrote a march for one. The Washington Post wasn't a Scripps paper, but it's the only newspaper honored by a Sousa march, so we offer it in honor of West Chester's famous journalist citizens, E.W. Scripps and Roy Howard. Please enjoy Washington Post March by John Philip Sousa. Hey everybody, I'm Representative Jennifer Gross, and I am here to present to our trustees, our administration, and all of you, Ohio House Resolution 136, honoring West Chester Township on its bicentennial. Whereas the members of the House of Representatives of the 135th General Assembly of Ohio are pleased to commend West Chester Township on the jubilant occasion of its 200th anniversary. I'll spare you reading the whole thing, but I will read this part. Whereas every state depends upon such vibrant, durable communities as West Chester for its own survival and stability. Although having known adversity and tribulation, it also has been favored with its share of blessings, and it has grown into the center of industry and the home for a broad array of businesses specializing in diverse fields. In the years to come, West Chester is sure to remain on its admirable course and to continue to transform challenges into opportunities. Therefore, be it resolved that we, the members of the House of Representatives of the 135th General Assembly of Ohio, in adopting this resolution, extend our congratulations to West Chester Township as it commemorates its 200th anniversary and offer our best wishes for its perennial good fortune, and be it further resolved that the clerk of the House of Representatives transmits and duly authenticated this copy of this resolution to West Chester Township. Thank you very much.
The American composer Aaron Copland is best known for his ability to write music that reflects the common people of America and their daily lives. Much of his own music has been said to reflect and even call forth the landscape and pioneer spirit of the country. This area of West Chester remains significantly agricultural, with many small farms until the mid-1900s. In this selection from his ballad, Rodeo, Copland waves in a fiddle and pipe tune, Bonaparte's Retreat, a Scottish tune, Miss MacLeod's Reel, and a Scottish and Irish tune, Gilderoy. It's a Saturday night in West Chester's 200th birthday weekend. Let's have a hoedown.
Catherine Lee Bates began composing the lyrics for this well-known patriotic hymn on the summit of Pikes Peak in 1893 after a train trip from New England to Colorado Springs. Almost all of us know the first verse, but in commemoration of our founders, let us recall the second verse. Oh, beautiful for pilgrim feet, whose stern, impassioned stress a thoroughfare for freedom beat across the wilderness. America, God mend thine every flaw, and crown thy good with brotherhood, thy liberty in law. As we here on Founders Day celebrate and honor their past, we remember that the founders came with hope and a vision for the future, as Bates's poem captures in her fourth and final verse. Oh, beautiful for patriot dream that sees beyond the years. We will best honor them by continuing what they started, by trying to mend America's flaws that yet remain, by meeting the challenges that we face, and by bequeathing to our own young and successor generations an America the beautiful.
The United States entered World War I in April 1917, and many Ohio young men answered the call to the colors. The 37th Buckeye Division and the 83rd Ohio Division were two units made up heavily of Ohio soldiers. The bugles from that war have been silent for a century, but songs from the period still echo into our time. This composition was written in commemoration of the 100th anniversary of World War II and is a medley of 4 songs popular then and now. The orchestra brings them to you as echoes from the battlefield.
The ships at sea brought most of our soldiers home, just as the Ohio River had brought most of the early settlers and founders of West Chester. The Iroquois called the river beautiful, and many of the German settlers said the Ohio River, the Ohio Valley, reminded them of the Mosel Valley. The song Beautiful Ohio was written in 1919 as a kind of a nostalgic love memory song. It is now our state anthem, with a new set of official words available on the Ohio Secretary of State's website. The revised lyrics, like the Great Seal, reflect the varied geography and activities of Ohioans. In 1796, Judge John Sims sold Section 12 East, which was then resold to various settlers. It became and stayed farmland until it was purchased by the federal government in 1943. For the next 50 years, in place of corn, there grew from it the tall transmitting towers of the Voice of America, sending shortwave broadcast messages of freedom around the world from the U.S. Office of Information. It is sometimes known as the Bethany Relay Station from the old Bethany Telephone Exchange. Earlier, we gave you a Sousa March to honor newspapers. We now honor our own federal radio news broadcast operation with the Voice of America March.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed the concert so far and a little bit of history about West Chester. Three of our members, well, an A+1. So Joe Foster and Susan Hughes and Tom Hughes, who were the last readers who were up here, did all the research and the history and all to come up with the little paragraphs and associating them with the music we have chosen. So I'd like to give them a round of applause for their work. And we had invited the Historical Society, but they were very busy today, and I sent them our research, and they said, that was really good. You got that right. So that made they made them feel good that the people who oversee the history out here thought that they had done their homework. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. A little bit different kind of a concert, but with the 200th anniversary here of the founding of West Chester, I thought it was appropriate to kind of tie in the history. I used to teach beginning band in Lakota, and we'd get to Erie Canal capers in our little band book, and I'd say, what do you know about the Erie Canal? And they'd go, and I say, well, why is there Port Union over here? And I said, you realize part of that canal was the Erie, Miami, and it came, and there's locks and stuff, and you can go visit them here. And they were like shocked that the Erie Canal had something to do with West Chester. So that was always kind of a fun little history lesson that I threw at them. So at this part of the program, this is kind of our traditional end of the patriotic concert, a little earlier than usual because it tied in with the Bicentennial here. But we're going to play Armed Forces Salute. And in this, you hear the service songs of all the different branches of service. And we invite you, if you are a veteran or active duty, or even if you have a relative in the military, when you hear their service song, please stand up and be recognized and be thanked for your service to our country. Well, as we come to the conclusion of our program, thank you all so much for being here. We'll be back here on Labor Day for another program that'll close the concert season. Yes, we did open this place up in 1997. I was about 12 then. Nah, not really, but I wish. And when we have a fundraiser, and we were back to it this year, pandemic kind of put the brakes on it for a while, but we auction off the chance to conduct the orchestra at Stars and Stripes Forever. And we have two special guest conductors I wish would come up here. I have a presentation for them. These are our youngest and cutest guest conductors by far. So I have a plaque for them. It says to Hadley and Madeline Mills, guest conductors, West Chester Symphony, Stars and Stripes Forever, Keehner Park, June 2023, winner of the West Chester Symphony auction. So they're going to come up here and conduct the stars and show them your magic wands. I told them a baton was a magic wand, so they brought their Harry Potter ones. I can really relate to this because both my sons were really into Harry Potter. So I'm going to get out of the way. I'm going to turn the podium over to these young ladies, and they're going to conduct the last number of the evening.